let me see. A
We could
netball
install
court.
some computers too in the. We could put in some computers in there.
Yes. Thanks, Miss D. So you would put that in your project. So you would break down the activities and make it more easily read. You can read it easily, and you can track what you're doing, right? Another important thing to note as well is reports. Sometimes we would fall off when it comes on to reports. And I believe some time ago, the security minister, he was really bashing community groups in terms of failed projects, or project not really achieving what they intended to do. Now, he could have made a statement like this because a lot of the community groups, they don't have the proper monitoring system in place to track progress, right? And some of the time we really do a lot of work. We do a lot of work, but we it's probably oversight. We don't follow up on the simple things like reporting. You do the training, you train a bag of people. You need to document that. Ensure you have a filing system. You can go back, track remember I said earlier that.
And Ezekiah, if I go back, some persons on some participants would be familiar with EFJ. Now, EFJ has a complex Excel sheet that they want you to fill out. I don't know if Kimoy is online or Miss Dillon. And they ask, so you see the recording that you're talking about is very important. So, for example, you're doing training, they want to know what is the total number of people you train, and you have to report every quarter. And EFG have a rating system. So you will hear that you get a rating of X or Y. So they're going to want to know how many people you train in total. Then they want to know how many people, how many females and how many males. And they want to know how many people between a certain age range. So sometimes when you see we have a little workshop and you see we ask you, I know your business we want to find out. And we ask you to tick whether you're male or you're female or what the age range is. It's because it is what is required by the funder. Because the funder would have to, the funder too has to do some reporting, and they want to say that they're impacting young people or they're impacting women. Sometimes there's a gender emphasis. So we need we have to pay very keen attention to these things. If you're putting up a tank, they want to know what type of tanks. If it's a rhino black tank or is it, they want to know the details. They have to write down everything.
Indeed.
Yes, Ezekiah, sorry. You can go ahead.
Yes, thanks for that. And like I mentioned, the reporting system is very important, right? And the monitoring, all of that, it helps with the sustainability of the project as well. Like I said, every 3 to 5 years, that's the time period given to assess the impact of a project. Now, when you finish a project and you dash through everything and never record nothing, you can't go back. Or sometimes the donors, they conduct their own evaluation as well, sometime way after the project finish. Now, if they come and, when I say donor, I mean the funders of the project. So when they come and they conduct their assessment and, they say, let me interview a couple of people that you would have trained or interview a couple of your staff and, have nothing in place to really, support that process, it really means that your project cannot be monitored, right? You can't assess the things that you would have done, your staff would have done over the period of time. So it's very important. In terms of the wider Caribbean, the wider Caribbean, it is deemed as, we don't have the data, basically. So a lot of international funders, they are reluctant to fund Caribbean projects because they're saying that we don't have the capacity to monitor. But it all boils down to the basic things that we do. And it begins with reporting and track our project activities.
Mr. Hall, hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
would you think maintenance would be a part of that?
When you say
Maintain
maintain,
maintenance of the I
So I
realize
guess sustainability is the thing he's talking about. So if you have, we go back to that example, Ezekiah, of the refurbishing of the community center.
mm-hmm.
If you are not maintaining, yes, the evaluation. So if you don't have a system in place to maintain the community
exactly,
center, you will be in trouble.
exactly.
So
That is what I've worked in the
from
Montego
day
Bay.
one, from day, mhm.
Exactly,
From
exactly,
day
Miss.
one, when you're writing the project, you need to have in mind how it is that you're going. You need to put a maintenance committee together. So you have to write that down. And then there's something called baseline data. So there may have been a center already, and you want to say whether or not there was a maintenance committee there already, or whether you're going to strengthen that maintenance committee. And you want to say whether you're going to put a maintenance plan together with a schedule and all of that. And you have to document all of what you're doing and put it down on paper. And just for the record, in terms of regular information management processes, you have, when you take a donor's money, you have to maintain your records for 7 years at least. They can come back to you at any time and do an evaluation.
Could you say that
So
again, Miss?
you have to keep your record for at least 7 years.
7 years.
That's 7 years.
Okay, thanks.
Your financial management, anything that has to do with your payment vouchers, your invoices, you cannot dash them away or burn them up and say, time up now. You have to keep them. Ezekiah mentioned about the evaluation. They can come 5 years after the project has finished, and they come and they want to know, I invested 10 million in your community. What is happening? And sometimes they get somebody external to the donor or the funder to come in and do evaluation. So they hire somebody else who has nothing to do with it, and they come and they want to see all your records. So you have to make up your mind to keep those records for a long time, because really and truly, the investment is not really your money. So it's the donor's money, and they want to make sure that whatever they do is sustainable.
Exactly. So that is what
All
affecting
right?
projects. Exactly.
Yes. I'll give you an example. We have a rainwater harvesting project that we did in 2013 in a community called Pleasant Valley. And it was a communal water harvesting project. And up until about a month ago, people were still asking me, donors, UNDP keep asking me about the same project. And if it was not COVID time, they would take people out of Kingston or out of from any country to come and visit. We have had people from Australia, from Barbados, who have come to look at this thing that was done in 2013. And every time I'm asked to speak, sometimes I'm asked to speak at maybe a virtual meeting. Sometimes they invite you to a face-to-face. They ask you to talk about the meeting, about the project. And we have had experiences where somebody has just come in, a young lady from New York came in and wanted to see our files. And she wanted to have a look at it. She wanted to take them off on a jump drive and look at it to see, how was the money spent. So they are testing both the local office here in Jamaica that gave the money, and they're testing us as an implementing agency. And if you don't have your documents and your records properly kept electronically and hard copy, you are going to be in trouble. And it speaks to your profile as an organization and your reputation. So all of that is very important. All right. So, Mr. Dawkins, yes, Mrs.
Yeah,
Brown.
just say something too in following up with the record keeping, and so
Yes.
that's why it is so important that our governance structures are firmly established in our organizations, and we have people of integrity who contribute, who work along with us. Sometimes you have officers in your organization who, for one reason or the other, there is conflict, they fall out, and they move away with the documentation. And so as an organization, you don't have the records for years. In our organization at Mineral Heights, we've had that problem where an officer moved away with the documentation. We cannot account for them, and we are in trouble sometimes. So it is important that we have people of.
I think Mrs. Brown, you're muted. Mrs. Brown, you're muted. All right. Yeah, so I think she's saying that they in Mineralites is a true story. They are suffering because some persons have malicious intent. So whenever if they are voted out of a position, sometimes they take the records with them. That is not a true patriot. That is not somebody who is committed to your organization. So you have to choose your officers well and make sure that your records are intact.
Thank you.
Good point, Mrs. Brown. All right, Ezekiah, I've said my piece. You want to continue? I see where Ketania was leading us a little back down to activities and milestones.
Yeah, Miss D.
Yes, yes.
All right. Let me just take about 2 minutes and just briefly take them through the log frame.
Okay.
So the log frame is usually written in a table format, and it's established like kind of like backward mapping. So when I say backward mapping, I mean like you would identify the result first, right? So sometimes I like use this example for those who usually do some form of running in high school or, yeah. When you, whatever distance you're gonna run, if it be a 100 meter, you usually look down the line and see where the finish line there, because that's what you want to reach, right? So it's the same thing with the project. You identify what you want the outcome to be. That is the result, right? The result of the project. Now, remember I said it's written in a table format. So in the first column, right, you would put result, right, at the heading, the first column. So you put the result. Earlier I heard some of you outlining the goal of the project. So it would be basically you put the goal under that first column or the first heading, right? Next, now in the next column of the table, right, you want to identify the indicator, right? So for example, say you want to train 80 teachers, you want to train them in some kind of material, right? You want to outline the percentage of people or participants that you're gonna train. So you identify that number and you put that number there, right? Next, now you want to identify the baseline. Remember I said it's good to do your research before you do any kind of project, right? So you do your research before. If you say I got train 80 teacher, make sure you did find out if teachers did train before, probably under the same program. So if 50 teachers did train before under the baseline, this is what you're working with, right? So the baseline, you're gonna put 50 because 50 teachers were already trained, probably under a previous project or under, the same kind of program that you're working with. So put that down there. This is how you're gonna track your project, right? Now, you have your target. Remember, say the aim is to train 80 people. You're gonna put down the 80 there on the target. Following? Anybody following? Yeah, so we're working in a straight line now. So we're moving from the result. We write down the result what we want. It's written in worded form there, right? So if we say we want to improve the life of citizens in the Chaputan community, just generally say, right? You put it there. The indicator, you put the percentage. The baseline, you put what was already done before you undertaking this activity, right? And you put your target, right? Now, for accountability purpose, you would write the source of verification. So where did you get this information from? Did you conduct a research? Did you get the data from SDC? Did you get it from one of the agencies in the ministry, right? So you put down that information there for accountability purpose. So you can always go back to it. And this is how you track you monitor your program or your project, right? And well, since I touch on program and project, sometimes we confuse it too. Projects are usually under a program, right? Sometimes we call program everything, or we call project everything, right? So you can have multiple projects running under a program, okay? But this is a simple way of tracking your project. It's like I said, we do monitoring every day in our life. We monitor our bank account, we say money come out, right? We monitor our pot when we are cook. We go back every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, depending on what you're cooking. So working on a project, it's no different. All right, thank you.
All right, Ketania, I was just showing them, I don't know if persons that saw, I was just showing them what the SGP log frame looks like.
I'm not sure if they saw because I was still sharing.
You're still sharing, okay.
I did not see.
You didn't see, all right. Let me try and share again.
Let me stop sharing.
Yeah. Are you seeing now?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes. All right. So Ezekiah told you that it's a table, right? And so this table is used by SGP, Jeff SGP. But there are others that, you know, sometimes they tweak the table a little. So it depends on the funder. So each funder sometimes have a different format. But this is what SGP table looks like. And when they have project objective, what Ketania spoke to about, you would have your goal up here. So it's really the general project objective is the goal that you would put here. And then you would put your outcomes, which is your long-term result. And it is based on quality. So something increase or something is more effective, something like that. And a short-term result, and it's where you would say that more students, if we use the PEP, we'd say that more, maybe 60% of the students in the community who are enrolled in at grade 4 would have seen past results or something like that. And the indicators, they sometimes call them milestones, right? So it's a percentage change that might happen, or a number. And then the baseline is, what did we start out with? So if we were going back to the example from Ms. Coley, where she talked about the number of students. So maybe it is that for the entire community, only 5 young persons who take the PEP exams get an opportunity to go to the school of the traditional school of their choice. So that is the baseline that you would put there, and you would say whether you got the information from Ministry of Education and Information, or whether you got it from the school, the Hazard Primary School nearby, or where you got it from, all right? And then you put your target goal, which is how much here. So this is what, but there are different forms of log frames. All right, so I just wanted to show you what the Jeff SGP log frame looks like. And they have another table in there that speaks to results and activities and when and who are the person responsible. And normally they put the months and you put, you know, what you do in the first 2 months, in the first 4 months, that kind of a thing. And they have another one there that speaks to risks and so on, and monitoring plan and evaluation plan. But not every funder will ask for it in this particular format. So we wanted to get the basic understanding of what an output is, what an outcome is, and then you can pull it into the format that the funder requires. All right, back to you, Ketania.
Okay, then. All right, so I am just realizing that my camera shutter was on. So I was wondering how is it I'm seeing a blank space where my name is. I was just realizing I'm so not good at Zoom at all. Should have really been. Am I mute? Is everyone hearing me?
It's all right, Ketania, we're all learning. We're all learning, so don't worry.
All right. So I know it has been a lot of information. As we had said before, it is really a process. Proposal writing is really a process, and it does take a bit of time to grasp some of the concepts and some of the components. But in each of these trainings that you're participating in, just make sure you capture at least one aspect, and then improve on that aspect of the workshop that you've received. Improve on it, and then when you go to another workshop, you learn another aspect, because it is a lot to take in all at once. So just pace yourself. Do not pressure yourself too much. Pace yourself and take it step by step in understanding and learning some of the different things that you are required to do in the grant proposal when writing a proposal, that is. That's my computer. It's stuck. Oh, okay. All right. So we spoke about the output, outcomes, and now we are at activities. Now the activities are the tasks or subtasks we need to complete in order to accomplish the objective. Remember, we're telling a story. So we spoke about how the story started. So now we are moving into the things that needs to be done in order for us to complete the story. So the activities, now we're very familiar with activities, whether it is doing the 6-a-side football competition, whether it is doing the bake sale or the cake sale or the fish fry, whether it is the community cleanup that we're doing on Labor Day, the church service that we do for church service that we do for the anniversary of the organization, whatever the activities are, we are very familiar with different activities that might come under a project. More specifically, and I will always go back to the example that Kimoy gave with the tree planting and recreational facility activities. One particular activity from that could be the tree planting activity. It could be a tree planting activity where you get some students and some people from the community. You invite your donor partners as well, and you take a day and you plant some trees. And again, that leads back to what you said you would do in terms of health and wellness in the community. It goes back to your rationale, which speaks about how you plan to develop the community and how you are planning to alleviate some of the challenges the community is facing. So the activities are actually different things that you can do, different tasks that you do in order for you to take a step further towards your goals. So the activity I've outlined right there, I'm not sure if you're seeing the entire thing or you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm seeing very complete actions. It says skip to monitoring and evaluation.
1 second. Right, activity process.
Right.
So defining your activities, as I said, as Hezi had mentioned before, it is looking at what your output is, that you actually plan your activities to get the required outcome. So for example, in the, again, tree planting, in the tree planting exercise where we are planting 30 trees as an activity, that activity should lead towards an outcome. So it should be very concrete. You should know exactly what it is that you're doing and who is responsible for these activities. And Ezekiah and Ms. Douglas mentioned that in the lock frame, who is responsible for these activities? So we can know whether or not we're going to Romeo, or we're going to Kimoy, or we're going to
Miss Coley mentioned
or Mr. Dawkins. Who is responsible for this particular activity? Yeah, and then we went as far as to talk about monitoring and evaluating the project. Now, the activities play a very important role in monitoring and evaluating the project. And Ezekiah made a very good point of when you're cooking. When you're cooking, if you cook, say you fry plantain. I forgot to talk about the plantain. If you have fried the plantain, you have to make sure you check on it every minute or else it burn. Fry plantain. While you can put the cow food on the pot and leave it, go make a pen, come back, and it no pressure. All right, now cook. So depending on what exactly it is that you are doing, you have to have regular check-in or check-in points to see the progress of what it is you're doing for your implementation, for your monitoring and evaluation. And why I mentioned this particular part in the activities section is because the activities are small steps or small bits of your project implementation. So once you complete one activity, just make sure that if it is a training session that you have, just make sure that you write the report the same day. You don't wait until next week, you know. You write the report the same day, and you put the picture on the pictures on the report, and you make sure that you have your register. So that is a way in which you can then start to monitor the things that you're doing under your activities section. And you just continue to do that throughout the program instead of waiting until the last minute now to do all your collecting of information and collecting the pictures and writing your small reports to say this is what the activity was about. That is the reason why I had put that there, because it is just a step in the process towards another section of the proposal writing component, which is the monitoring and evaluation section. So just to kind of recap the activity. So the activity works well with the project output. As a matter of fact, the project output can be classified as an activity, as another name for the activity. The activity should be straightforward. So we are going to do this. We are going to whitewash the street. Activity 1. We're going to cut the grass along the pedestrian crossing. Activity 3. We're going to repaint the activity 2. We're going to repaint the pedestrian crossing. Activity 3. We're going to put up the go slow sign. Activity 4. So they're very specific. They're practical and well-defined. So you know exactly what it is that you need to do, and you should know who exactly is in charge of the activity and who will then carry out the activity. So that is what really your activities should, the activity plan should look like. And just to go back again, whenever you're doing those things, just make sure that as you finish, as the activity done, as a day finish, let's say not as a day finish, you probably can write it the other day, but make sure that as soon as the activity ends, you write your report, a short paragraph with a little picture or 2 pictures, and you put it aside and say, this day we did this activity. And so that when it's time for you to evaluate, or when you're submitting your monitoring and evaluation plan, you have that already. All you need to do is just put the information together. And that makes it a bit more easier when you're doing your reporting. Are we good for activity process? I'm not going to spend, I know it's been a long session so far, so I'm going to try and just summarize everything for the next couple minutes. All right, so now we're on to monitoring and evaluation. So monitoring and evaluation should be outlined from the onset of the project proposal. All right, so again, why it should be a part of the first set of things that you do when you are looking to write the proposal is because you need to know what you should put in place in order to capture certain information. For example, I will go back to, I'll go to Romeo, health and wellness or play field proposal, building the playing field proposal. In that proposal, Romeo would know that he definitely needs to have a camera so that he can take pictures before, what the playing field looked like before and what the playing field looks like after the project proposal, after the project has ended. So that is a way in which he can monitor how the progress of that particular project. If he is going to do any form of training, he has to make sure that he has his registers. So he has to make sure that for every training, you have the register and persons sign the register. And after the person sign the register, you make sure you scan that register so you have a digital copy, and make sure that you also keep the original hard copy of the register. If it is that you are, let me use one of the projects that we have. If it is that you're building a packaging facility, you have to make sure that you have all of your receipts. Make sure you have all of the procurement for who it is that you hired to build this facility. Make sure that you have all of those things in place. So if you know from before that this is what you are going to be doing, then you know how you can track it. If it is say you need register, if it is say you need camera, if it is you need somebody to do whatever it is that you want to do. From before, you can know exactly what it is that you need. So when it come on to you now, developing or putting in the information for your monitoring and evaluation part of your report, you have everything that is needed. You have captured the information that you needed to put in it. Any questions so far? Are we clear? Should I go over anything?
Have we lost everybody? Anybody there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Mr. Dawkins is here. Anybody else
here.
is here? Do you have any
I am
questions?
here.
Yes, Miss Clovelyn.
I'm here, Miss.
Okay. So you're
All right,
following.
and we're good. We're understanding. We understand.
Unmute and let us know if you're understanding.
We're
what is
getting
happening.
towards you're understanding. Right. So as I said before, it's just to find out how it.
Present.
You're present, Mr. Simmons. You're understanding anything. You're getting anything out of what we're sharing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. No, we have time. Any question you have, just come on, go ahead and ask them, please.
Yes.
Don't go ahead and then when it is finished, you say, boy, I need to understand what they matter about, you know. Okay.
All right. So all right. So monitoring. So what I've done here is just to kind of provide more examples of what monitoring is and more examples of what evaluation is. So to clarify the program objective, to make it very clear and sound what the program objective is. So as you said, as Hezekiah, I'm gonna always go back to Hezekiah's cooking example. You're going to go back and you're gonna check the planting to see if it's brown on one side before you flip it. You're gonna check to see if the oil hot enough for you to put the plantings in. So you're looking at what it is you're doing. You're looking at the objective that you want to achieve, and then you're monitoring to see now whether or not you need to change anything. Do we need more tutors or for the grade 3 students, or do we need more teachers for the grade 3 students? Do we need more classrooms for the students to participate? Is that playing field big enough for the community, or do we need to seek another area where we can have enough persons or the persons can do their activities comfortably? So you need to go back and just check to see whether or not everything is running smoothly or everything is running according to plan. And if not, You just go in and tweak. So that is one of the reasons why you keep monitoring what it is that you're doing, because we're not going to get it perfect the first time. And remember that things change. Not even couple years ago, a couple months ago, we would have been face to face in this workshop. We would have been face to face interacting, would have definitely get lunch and definitely get break. So many things have changed. So how do we now try to fit in to the things that are changing? How do we recalibrate and come again in order for us to reach the objective that we want to reach? And in order for us to do that, we have to monitor what it is that we are doing. Or else things are going to just continue down a path that we don't want it to go. And they will say, how comes this happen? How comes this happen? And they will start to blame. I say a theme fault, a fear fault, a ufa fault, and a this fault. So that is what monitoring does. It helps us to really fix up back ourselves and position ourselves to put ourselves back on the path towards achieving the goal. And you not do it just one time or two times. You do it throughout the process. You do it throughout the project process. So when writing your project proposal, you let the project funders know, say, all right, this is what we will do to monitor the project, and this is what we will, and this is how often we will do it, so that we can ensure that the project is on track and in line. Now, the evaluation part of it now comes at the end, is the results part, is where you see now, all right then, so following everything that we've done, what is the result? Have we reached our goal, or are we close to reaching our goal? We are now looking at what is done and how it is that we were able to reach the goal. If we weren't able to reach the goal, why it is that we weren't able to reach the goal. And that is when we start to write down what we call our lessons learned. Because in every single activity that we do, we have a lessons learned. It could be, all right then, so we are doing a Zoom session. It could be that we cut the Zoom session in 3 parts so that we have more persons coming online, because probably some people have work to do during this session, during this time of the day, or so on and so forth. It could be that we plan to plant the trees in September, October, November season, but we realize, oh wow, rainy season, so every day we plan to plant the trees is rain, so we can't use that, we can't plant the trees during that time. So that is a lessons learned. So all these things we kind of document to say, all right then, we can't do this again because of so on and so forth. Ms. Douglas pointed out that in terms of tree planting, we give ourselves enough time, because one, the procurement takes time. And remember that we're dealing with a living thing, we're dealing with trees. And if you don't plant them by a particular time, they will kind of age out. So rather themselves have to understand and know how it is that they produce these seedlings for planting, or any other agency that plants, that does seedlings. They have to understand this process as well. So you now have to know, so okay then, by X time, I would need to give myself X time in order for me to get the trees. And 6 months seems like a good time, because I tried 3 months before, 3 months never worked. I didn't get the trees in on time. And so I had the project deadline, or the project timeline had to be shifted, and that causes a whole heap of different confusion. So monitoring and evaluation should be considered as a main part of when you are writing your proposal. And remember, we spoke about competitive advantage. It adds to your competitive advantage because what happened is that you start to think more in depth on some of the things that you need to do within the project in order to reach a particular result. You understand that you need to monitor because things are changing constantly. So you need to monitor to see how much things has changed. And you're doing your own evaluation to see what the results look like. And you're writing down your own lessons learned and being able to share that as well. And then the big boy, the project budget, the money part. All right. Project budget. This is a detailed estimate of the costs likely to be incurred during the project implementation. And we have mentioned before EFJ, and we have mentioned SGP because those are the two organizations that some of us have gotten funding from. And if you realize with both organizations, they would ask you for an invoice. They'll ask you for an invoice to say how much this will cost. When you're doing your project proposal, you have to submit invoices with your project proposals to say, all right, this is what this will cost, or this is the estimated cost for what it is that you need to do. That helps to kind of build your budget. When you're building your budget as well, you have to use historical data, right? You have to go back, ask different organizations who have done similar projects to see what it will cost. How much would this cost? So when you are writing your budget, you have a better estimate of what the project will cost. You don't undervalue the project. And then when the funding comes, you say, oh Lord, we're not getting enough money for do this. The money I can't cover what we say we want to do. And all of those different things. So use historical data, especially when you're talking about construction. For the field proposal that Romeo had suggested, he would definitely need to get an estimate of what it takes or what it costs to build the type of field that he would want. And from that now, he can better able to say, all right, then the total budget for the project is XYZ, because now he has in it an estimate of what that playing field would cost.
Ketania, sometimes, I hope Romeo is online. Sometimes you need to get what is called a bills of quantities.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it will tell you how much money it will cost. You may need topsoil. So you're doing the field now, making it very live. We might need topsoil. We might need to lay down grass. We might need, so we have to put the cost of all of that. Mm-hmm. We might need laborers so we have to cost the laborers who will help to lay it, or whether you're going to get heavy duty equipment to do it, you have to put that cost in. So you have to put in all of that in your bills of quantities. And my suggestion, get somebody who has that expertise to prepare your bills of quantities. Very important. And your estimate. And get two. You know, like it's like a doctor, you know, you get a second opinion, get two persons to look at the field and see if it is, and ensure that everything is matching up, and do it from now. Don't wait until the call comes. What we did we did what we call a number of communal water harvesting system, community of water harvesting systems. What we do is what we worked with parish council or the municipal corporation, and they prepared a number of estimates and gave them to us. So we were able to use that to apply for funding. And so we didn't wait. So if you know that you have this thing in mind, get somebody, approach somebody, maybe a member of your committee is an architect, or a member of your committee is a mason, or just somebody who knows how to do things. Have them prepare that estimate beforehand. And then if anything, you can add inflation percentage to it. Is anybody there? I'm not hearing anybody. Is anybody there? Are we talking to ourselves, Ketania?
No.
We're here.
Oh,
I am here.
Present.
Okay, all right. So now hear what me say. What me just say? Get somebody to look at, what you're doing. So like Miss Clover just responded. So if Miss Clover is a teacher, so if Miss Coley said she wanted to do a homework program, call a member and say, all right, about how much you think for a stipend, because we can't pay them full salary. How much is it for a stipend to pay a teacher 3 evenings a week? Get those costs and put them down and use them to put input into your budget. It's one of the hardest things to do if you're just picking numbers out of your head. Get real costs. And what I find with a lot of these funders, they'll put in the form, you'll see a little budget, maybe I just budget with, and they'll summarize some things under labor, equipment, and they'll say, they'll give you those headings and say, fill them out. But you have to prepare a detailed budget where you put everything. If it pen costs, if you're doing a training program and you're going to need paper folder, notebooks, you have to put those. You have to do a detailed budget. And for USA and EU, you'll have to put those details in. So ensure that you do a detailed budget. Don't pick numbers out of your head.
Right.
All right. So we just want to know that you're there, gonna cook lunch and pick up the children from school.
Miss Day.
Yes.
And so you're doing some form of monitoring as well.
Yes. Yes, I'm just making sure that participants are here and they are responding to us. So that's part of what we do. That's part of the indicators to know that persons are there and are feeling us. Yes. That's a milestone. Every now and then we check to make sure. That's part of your monitoring. So if we never hear you, then we would have to, or if you say you weren't understanding, sometimes we have to shift gear and use more practical examples and so on. Thanks for that, Izzy. Yeah.
Right. And importantly, so while I was preparing for this presentation, I was looking at some videos and looking at what the experts are saying or what donors are saying when it comes on to the budget. And what most of them do is that once they pick up your project proposal, they head straight to the budget because they want to know if what it is you say in your rationale is mapping to what you're saying in your budget. Can this budget achieve what it is you're saying that you want to achieve? Is the budget, are you, as an organization, are you also contributing to this? Do you have a contribution in this budget, or is it the donors funding alone that you are seeking to cover the cost in doing what it is that you said that you are going to do? So cost share is a big part of the budget as well. To say, all right, then, if it is that we are asking SGP for $4 million, we can find at least half of that, not necessarily cash, but it can be in kind as well. we can find some portion of that to help to facilitate the project. So we're not only asking one organization, we're seeking some kind of funding. If we're doing a playing field, we're going to the hardware and asking for a little bit. We're going to the church and asking for a little bit. We're going to the community and asking them for a little bit, even if it is just to give us a day's work on the playing field. So this is what helps to make up what your budget is. So not only the things that you require from your project funders, but also the things that you are able to contribute to the project that will help to reduce the costs or to offset the cost that the entire project will cost. And that is one of the reasons why you definitely need, when you're doing your project proposals, just get someone who is knowledgeable about particular areas. For example, in building the field, an architect or construction worker who knows what it takes to build a playing field, and get their input. Get all the persons, the relevant authorities involved as well, who would give you some information on how to go about building it, and just put that information inside of the budget. A reason for that as well is that most of these budgets ask for notes. For example, with the educational program for the PEP students, if you're going to provide lunch, how many students are you break? How many students are you providing break for? What is the cost of the break? So you're kind of detailing how it is you came up with this figure of $200,000 for one term to provide snacks for the students. So there's a number of students that you're preparing for, the number of days that you're preparing snacks for, and how much the snacks would cost over that particular period.
Ms. Griffiths?
Sure.
I was just looking at it. What if before the approval of that proposal, the cost of the items go up?
So there are two things, or one thing. Let me say two things. There are two things. There is a section in the budget where you have miscellaneous. And what the miscellaneous does is kind of cushion for inflation. So for example, with our SGP project that we are doing in Springvale Bogwalk, we had projected that the building itself would cost $2 million. However, the cost of building material has increased up to 50%. And I'm talking about cement, steel, lumber has increased by 50%. But in our budget, we had a miscellaneous line item, and that is what we are now using to kind of offset the cost for inflation. In another instance, you can actually build the rise in inflation in your budget. So you can say, all right, then when you're doing your estimate, for example, you got the estimate from a contractor to build the playing field, for example, and the playing field costs $10 million, right? You can say, all right, then 2 years from now, at 20% inflation, probably I'm taking it too far, but 20% inflation. So you can adjust it by 20% each time. So you account for any increase in cost. So you can write a note in your budget note to say that taking into consideration inflation of X amount by X year or so on and so forth. So those are two ways in which I and myself and my team really look at doing the budget and really projecting what it would be like when the project starts.
May I ask, what about contingency?
Yeah, contingency. So the contingency is what I call the miscellaneous. So you have a contingency in the budget. You have a contingency in the budget, which will help to cushion that particular area. Any further questions? The contingency could also be doing something which would give you the same result, but would cost less. So that could also be a contingency plan. So, all right, instead of us doing this that will cost X amount of money, let us do Y. And I can give you an example. I have a colleague who has another organization which got funding from EFJ, and they are looking at sustainable craft jewelry, building craft jewelry. And what happened was that when they submitted the proposal to EFJ, which was before COVID, they had $1 million in the budget for a particular machine that could split bamboo. However, because of COVID, things were turned upside down and they didn't get the grant at the same time. They actually got the grant last year and they had written the project back in about 2000. They got the grant this year and had written the proposal back in 2019. The cost of the bamboo splitting machine went up by about 25%. So EFJ was not going to change the budget or realign the budget. So they had to provide a different solution, which was to purchase a smaller machine for less money to get the job done. So in that case, a contingency is really trying or finding out an alternative to getting the job done, which does not affect the budget.
But wouldn't it affect the output?
Well, that is it. It wouldn't necessarily affect the output. It does for that particular project. It wouldn't affect the output because you're getting the same machine to split the bamboo. But it's just that you have to get a smaller machine. It probably does a smaller quantity, but still provides the same output and outcome that the project was looking to come off with. So that's a very important question, because when you're thinking about your contingency, you have to make sure that the contingency is also in line with your goal, with your objective, and further to your project output and your project outcome. That is a very important question, Mr. Dawkins. So whenever you're thinking about your contingency as well, you have to ensure that the contingency that you're putting in place does not alter the outcome that you want for the project. Any further questions? Yeah, that one was good. I got a lot of questions. That was excellent. All right, so this is an example of a budget, and I did have the SGP budget as well that I wanted to share. But this is what a budget would look like. Doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing, but just an idea of what the budget would look like. I'm going to look for the SGP budget as well to just share that with you so you can see how the SGP budget looks. 1 second, please.
Miss Douglas? I'm not hearing nothing.
Yes, Miss Clover?
I'm still here. I'm just trying to share.
Okay. I was saying I didn't hear anything, but okay.
I wanted to show you the SGP budget. So I was just bringing that one up. All right, so everybody seeing this, the budget?
Oh, no. Yes, miss.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So here they said that the project budget is an important part of the GEF SGP project proposal and must be completed prior to consideration of the proposal project for funding. Once the project has been approved for funding, the budget information becomes part of the binding memorandum of understanding between GEF and the proposing organization. So they make sure, they said that make sure that when you submit your budget, you submit the correct information, because once the project is approved, you can't go back in there, go change nothing. Can't go, but it's a binding memorandum of agreement. So make sure that you get the correct information. If it is that you're providing a stipend to how many persons, make sure that you get the number of persons, the amount of money that you are giving each person, and make sure you get the correct time frame so that you can write in the budget the total amount that is necessary to fund that activity. All right, so below you see table 6 and you talk about project funding summary. So they are now asking you to a question, is there?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So they're now asking you to sum up how much it is that you're asking SGP for. So you are asking us for money. How much money you want us to give you? How much money are you as the organization putting towards this project? What about the community? How much money will the community contribute? What is the value? What is the value of the community contribution? As I said before, it doesn't necessarily have to be cash, but you also have in-kind So we're volunteering. We are using our own cell phones to make calls. We are using our own laptops to teach the students. We are using our own internet. I will use my office to have meetings. So you are using all these costs and you're putting it into the other sections that the donors themselves do not or would not contribute to. And then we have co-funders. So we are looking at other entities out there that you can pull on or that you can invite to partner with you, and then also share some of the costs that you will incur for the project. So that is what the project funding summary says. After you have tallied all of that information, that you put that in the summary of the project funding summary. They have community contribution. I was the one that had put labor in that part. And this was particularly for the project that we are doing in Wagwalk, because we are actually building a packaging house for the farmers in that community. So we had put in their labor to help with the construction of the packaging house. And we had put in there, so for X amount of time, the labor will cost per day or per week X amount of money, and then we just multiply and we get the final value for the source of community contribution that we will get from that for the project itself. Remember, we spoke about organization contribution. A big part of the contribution, I remember Miss Douglas speaking about providing a stipend. Now we know the cost that for the cost that a tutor will charge for after school. For some extra lessons, it's like $1,000 a day, or I'm not sure if it has increased. No, $1,000 a day for 4 days. So that would be $4,000 a week. Now, if you're going to give a stipend and say the stipend is $500 a session, and I hope you're following my math. I'm not too good at maths, but I try nothing. So if the staff themselves are getting half of that, in the contribution, you have to put the fact that the other $500 should go towards in-kind support or in-kind a value dollar. I hope I haven't lost anyone.
So Titania, what I normally do, suppose the market rate is $5,000 a day for a teacher, but you're asking them to contribute, you're asking them to do it for $2,000. So you're actually paying them $2,000, $3,000 would be in-kind contribution.
Right.
Right. So normally we don't, for projects like this, we don't pay market rate. We try and ensure that we give something back, and that would be our sweat equity, what people call sweat equity, or in-kind contribution. Or in some persons call it co-funding. Right. So that's how you kind of do it. Or if you're using your laptop to do the project reports, you can you can put in the charge for renting a laptop for the day, or renting a projector like how we do in training. Or if you're using a meeting space, you can put in, you're getting the school free, and the school
free to use, right?
Yeah. but there's a cost if you were going to pay Anglican Church Hall or over by Methodist. They would charge you $25,000 for the day. So you cost those things, and that is your in-kind contribution or your sweat equity or co-funding.
Exactly.
Anybody did that? You don't know. People still did that? Then gone?
We're here.
We're here.
Oh.
Another.
So you understand what is in-kind contribution?
Yes, oh yes.
Loud and clear. Loud and
Okay.
clear. Loud and clear.
All right.
Okay, awesome. So that is what the SGP budget looks like. I'm going to just see what else is
They have a summary budget as well. There's a summary budget at the back.
project, right? Budget of project expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
Now here, if you realize there is also budget notes, as I had mentioned before. So personnel or labor, how much money, what would be the total cost of personnel and labor for this particular project? And you write the cash contribution, SGP, $200,000 for the entire time. That is
there's a little
for.
caveat. You see it has an
Yes, there is the asterisk.
Mm-hmm. So,
very important. That
so
asterisk.
you just look at that asterisk.
And it is highlighted as well, which means you can't miss it. Can't miss it at all. So whatever it is that we're asking for, whatever it is that we're asking SGP for, what they're saying is that altogether, the personnel and labor should not be over 10%. So if we're asking them for $2 million, we can only ask for $200,000 to pay personnel, because that is 10% of the total amount that we are asking them for. You can't go over that amount.
Could you repeat that, Miss?
Okay, so if you're seeing the budget down by the bottom here where you see the yellow highlight, you're seeing that?
Well, I cannot read it really, but I've seen it.
Okay. So it says that the personnel, what you're paying for your labor and project team, it should not be over 10% of what you're asking them for. So if you're asking them for $100,000, what you're paying your personnel should be 10% of that $100,000. And 10% of that $100,000 is what? $10,000. So you can't pay personnel more than $10,000 for the entire throughout the project implementation phase.
In other words, what I normally do, say we're going to do the play field. We're rehabilitating or building up the play field, and we're going to buy trees. So I get the estimate from the contractor, and I get the money for buy the tree, and I get the costing from forestry and rather to buy the trees. And I put all of that together, and I put the money for training. So I'm going to train the group in maintenance of facilities training. And I put all of that together. And they know, and I know that the amount of money that Jeff is going to give me is 50,000 US. So when I get all of those costs for those main outputs or main activities, then I say, what is 10% of that in order to come up with it? So normally the administrative and management part is the last part of it that you do. And you put in your miscellaneous. You remember, Ketania mentioned earlier, your miscellaneous, that is in case inflation and the US dollar going up every day. So in case, you know that to get a truck to take the topsoil up to Palmer's Cross, and you're going to take it from maybe way down a haze or something, the cost might vary. So you have to bear that in mind. So when you cost all of that, and so the contracts and the equipment that you're going to rent or use and all of that, then you say, all right, what is 10% of that? So I know when I'm starting my budget, I start with what the value of the total call is. And for some, for EFJ, for example, their total call is something like 5 million at the last call. So you start with that and then you work down. You work back ways. SGP is 50,000 US. You use a rate. Don't use do not use the rate that you see on TV at night. Go on. Normally they use the UN rates. So use the UN rates and work back and work back in Jamaican dollars. You can go online and look for the UN rate. But that's a whole different kind of game, because most times you either have to apply, if it's DAP, like New Zealand Fund or Aussie Aid Fund, which is the DAP one, you have to work out in another currency. So try and work it out and have a Excel sheet going to help you work out. Ask somebody, ask the burst staff for the school in your community to help you. Mm-hmm. Get help, because the budget is not easy. The most important thing, get the performer invoices and get the costing and write them down and go sit at the feet of the bursar or of a lady who you know do good for the bookwork and help to and let them help you. The thing about project writing, it's a team approach. A lot of us worry about, am I writing the objectives in English? Write it, or you can write it and then ask the English teacher down the road to help you to fix it after you. But write it however you can rough, and then you ask somebody to fix it for you. The same thing with the budget. Get somebody who understands these figures and understand how to calculate to help you. Are people still there? Have we lost you?
Yes, we are.
Go on, you unmute and say, yes, I understand.
Yes, we are here.
I don't understand. Okay, good. All right.
So I will close off on the budget right there.
And before you close off, Ketania, so you see those headings, it says there, training, seminar, workshop, travel. It might be that you're going to do 2 or 3 training. If it's a Jeff project, it's always good for you to do some sensitization on climate change or environmental protection, and you're going to do something on maintenance of the facilities and so on. You're going to have to, I said it before, you're going to have to go do that separately on a separate piece of paper as your detailed budget. Then you summarize it and put it in here and put the notes in the note part. And for small grants projects, generally for SGP and EFJ, they do not like contracts. I've learned that they don't like to hire us to hire a consultant. They prefer for us to partner with government agencies or departments, ministries to get things done. So try not to push too much into the contracts section. Work out everything on the equipment and material, even, to get the costing. They don't like for us to pay over their little 5 million or whatever it is. They don't want us to pay over too much of our money to expensive consultants. They have a pet peeve about that, so remember it. And contractors, so you have to be very careful that you're not paying over a large sum of money to one person. They don't like it. And then if you're going to be doing that, then there's a procurement process, which is another thing that you have to abide by. You may have to get 3 quotes, or you may have to do a request for proposal and send a TOR and send it out. So it becomes more complicated if you're going to be doing, if you're going to get a contractor or a consultant. All right, yes, all right, Ketania, done chatting.
As I said, it is, Ms. Douglas said it right. It's a team effort. So it might look like a lot now, but once you put your team in place and you all tackle it together, it becomes so much more easier for you to manage. All right, there is this video I wanted to share. I had saved it here. I'm not sure where it is now. Just bear with me a few, let me just locate it. And TV. Miss Douglas spoke about teamwork, and I remember that I had downloaded this video because project proposal writing is really about teamwork, not for one person. One person alone can't do it. Hope this thing works. Okay, what's happening? Are we seeing?
No, miss.
I am not seeing the video.
Okay, it's coming up. It's just taking some time. My computer is like a dinosaur.
Dinosaur?
Yes.
Don't tell me say that old.
Yes, it is that old.
Mr. Simmons, are you there? You're okay?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, sir. Good, good, good.
Waiting on that video.
Yes, the dinosaur take a little time, you know.
Dinosaur is supposed to be a power. It's supposed to be a powerful thing.
Yeah, them take time to come back from the ice age to know to COVID age.
Okay. All right. Loud and
Miss
clear.
Austin, are you there? I haven't heard you. No, we're not seeing it. Miss Austin, you're there? Not seen it yet.
Oh, Miss Griffiths, we are here. Are you able to provide a list of donors for the group?
Of course, Mr. Dawkins. I'm sure Miss Hilton can provide a list of. Miss Hilton can provide a list of donors. There's normally a little link that you can send that out to them.
Yes, we have that, Miss D.
Right. So you can contact your SDC officers for a list of donors. And when you get that list, pay attention to what we call their menu or their list of things that they are focusing on. Because sometimes what you have in your mind, like you want to do, we were talking about that earlier, you want to do a play field, you're not necessarily going to find a donor who can do that. You have to tweak it a little, tweak your project a little.
Miss D, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
When they are when participants are engaging, the officers just make reference to the funders guide.
Okay, everybody heard that.
It's a list of donors and they're not sure what you're talking about, you can just say funders guide.
All right, so you heard that, everybody?
Right.
Just ask the CDO or the supervisor for the funders guide, and they can help you, right, Mr. Dawkins? You got that?
Yes, Miss
The Funder's Guide.
Funder's Guide. Okay, thanks.
Yes. Who is your officer? Who is the CDO that works with you? Who is this community development officer that works with you, Mr. Dawkins?
Oh, I was muted. Mr. Edwards.
Mr. Edwards. Well, ask Mr. Janoy Edwards for the Funder's Guide.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir. Ketane look like the dinosaur dead, man. We're not seeing him at all.
I'm telling you, you know that it's playing now.
It's playing, but we're not
it's
seeing
playing,
it.
But
try sharing screen again.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now, to share the screen. I tell you that I'm really not good at this thing.
Yeah. Miss Graham, are you getting anything from the workshop, Barbara?
Are we seeing it now?
No, still not seeing it.
Yes, we are.
All right, good. Just checking in on everybody. I see you have started to share your screen. It says double click to enter. Full screen.
I seen it now. Wow.
Still not seeing
it. Miss Douglas. Could you repeat that, Miss Douglas?
I'm saying it says we see your screen, but it's black. There's nothing there. We got it now.
All right. So you were talking about teamwork, and I had actually downloaded this video just to show how much teamwork impacts on the outcome. So
okay,
let's go.
We're not getting the sound very well. It's coming through, but not very clear. And it looks like a very nice, one of those nice cartoons.
I wonder, what did that know?
Those don't look like dinosaurs.
Eh?
Those don't look like dinosaurs.
They don't look like dinosaurs. That's
no.
From an Ice Age, though.
You know, some of them, some Ice Age cartoon they show.
Ice Age, you know, Ice Age cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, them. You see, it look like it. Well, we're not hearing the sound, but apparently they want to get that nut up there on the tree. All of them.
What she could do, she could probably send the link in the chat, and we could watch it after.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good idea, Raquel.
But they're not saying anything.
We're seeing it. We're not hearing the sound. We're not hearing it. And there is the eagle up there trying to keep them from getting the nut. So I guess they have to come up with a strategy to get the nut. All right, so you can put the link in there because we're not hearing, but you put the link in chat, and as Raquel suggested, we can watch it later on. But generally, but generally, we see what is happening. You kind of get the gist. They have that nut. They want to get the nut, and that predator wants to get at them, but eventually they work together and get the nut.
You hearing it now?
No. It's very low.
In the interest of time, let us work with the suggestion. Put it in the link.
Yeah.
And we move on from there. Yeah.
So Ketania, maybe we can stop the video.
Well, I am trying.
Oh, you're trying?
My computer is just so slow.
Stop sharing. Okay, she having a little technical difficulty in terms of sharing of the video.
My computer is just so slow.
Just want to add something.
I think it has stopped. Yes, it has.
Okay, all right.
All right, so now I'm back.
Okay. All right, members, I just want to remind you that sometimes when you're submitting your proposals, you may need supporting letters from the organizations or institutions, companies that you're working with. So you must plan for this. Are you hearing me? Yeah, we're hearing you now. So you may have to get a letter from, yeah, we're hearing you. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? You can put it in the chat. Are you hearing me, Ketania?
Hearing me?
I'm hearing you, but are you hearing us? Yes, so I was saying that we're not here. We're hearing you.
Okay, I wasn't hearing. All right, we're back up now. We're back up.
All right. So I was telling participants that sometimes when you're submitting your project, you may need supporting letters or letters of intent. So these letters, say for example, you're going to be getting training support from SDC to do some maintenance training, or you're going to be doing something. If you're planting the trees around the border line of the play field, you may be getting training from RADA. You may need to get a letter from them to say that they will be offering this support. And sometimes you may need to get the cost of the support because you need to put it in your in-kind contribution. So make sure you ask for this very early so that you don't have any problems going forward. Or you may need to get, if you're working with a school, you may need to get an endorsement letter from the board of directors or the school board, or you might need to get a letter from Ministry of Education. So you ask for these things well in advance so that you can have them. Yes, Ketani, I was just keeping up the time a little. Over to you.
Okay, all right. That's just how technology goes.
Yeah.
Oh wow, how did we get this far?
All right, so Trina found the video, so she'll send it to your emails or put it in the group, or put it in the group so you can look at it in your own time.
Thank you, Trina. Very resourceful.
Yes.
All right, project report.
Yes.
All right, so I know that for
Thanks
SG,
in advance.
someone says thanks in advance, Trina. So the project report is, we have status report, we have different types of reports. So we have the status report, which you write during the project implementation period. So during the time when you're doing your activities, once you've completed a quarter, some organizations, you report by quarter. Once you've completed a quarter, then you submit a status report to say how the project is going on. What are some of the challenges that you are having? What are some of the results that you are seeing so far in going through the project implementation phase? And then how, with what you're seeing, how can you help to change or help to redirect some of the things that are not going right? Or you can just change to make sure that those things are going right. And you submit the status report to your partners or to the donors or the funders of the project to let them know how it is that the project is going on. Importantly, you have to also submit a budget with this status report so that you can
a financial report.
Financial report, yes, a financial report. Thank you for that. A financial report, so they can also see how it is that you're spending the money. If it is that you are spending according to what you propose to be spending during that time period, are you overspending or are you underspending? And the reasons why you are overspending, the reasons why you are underspending. And overspending and underspending is never good. Overspending means that you are not sticking to the budget. Underspending means that you are possibly not carrying out the activities that you said that you were going to carry out. And in both cases, it can mean, it can be detrimental to the project going forward, as in the project implementers giving you more funding, or you actually meeting the targets that you set out to meet. So the status report really help you to stay on your tippy toes, help you to really manage the project in the way that you said that you are going to manage the project. But it has a kind of external eye also looking at you, because the donors now are looking at how it is that you are implementing the project and how it is you are spending the money. So within the status report, you look at things such as the key points, priority, you look at the milestone, risk and issues, and of course, you submit a financial report to see how the spending is going. All right, so what I've
just
done
want
is
to
really
mention, Kezania, for the financial reports, you normally have to submit all your invoices and your receipts. So you normally scan those and submit them in order of how they were paid. So if you pay them by check or if you did a transfer, then you have to send a copy of the transfer slips that you used. So you have to remember to keep those in order and submit them with your financial report. And every donor has a financial reporting format. So they may require that you fill out their particular form. Do not amend their form. They don't like when you amend anything. Just follow what you get from them.
right? And
we're having a little internet challenge. Titania? Oh, you froze a little.
hello?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay, then. I was just adding to what you were just saying a while ago.
Yes.
And outside of the project itself, or a project implementation period where you need to be documenting your spending and copying your checks and your receipts. Outside of the project itself, for the organization itself, you also need to put things in place or put systems in place where you can track your spending, track the organization's budget. So what I find is that these organizations, the JSIF, the SGPs, the EFJs, they are actually helping in that regard to build the capacity of organizations to start to do these things, to start writing down the different spendings that you are doing, making copies, doing your procurement. It's actually preparing you now for even bigger projects or even bigger grants, because what you have now is you have a system, but then you also have records to show that you understand how filing in these systems work and how you can then account for any spending that you have done. Account for any spending that you have done, and really show different partners and different donors that you are able to manage project funding. So it's not only about the donors, but also helping to really build the capacity of members in the organization to track spending and to record spending for their own purposes. So I just wanted to add that to what Ms. Douglas had said a while ago about scanning receipts and making sure that you've written down all of the money that you spent. And when I said all of the money, I mean every single penny, not a cent out of sight, everything. So even if you have to pay cash, because where we work in Bogwalk, or farmers, they do not have bank accounts. So we cannot transfer funds to them if it is that we are paying them for services that they have given to us. So we have to pay cash. So we have to get a receipt. They have to sign on the receipt. And we have to scan the receipt and save that receipt so that we can send to SGP for them to see how that cash was spent.
Yes.
All right, so back to the status report now. So the status report, it can help to highlight gaps in the project implementation. It can help to track the project deliverables and to ensure that the project is on target, or to pinpoint where in the project there is no movement, where the project not moving at all, it is stagnant. It could be that you are planning to build the football field, but you can't, you're not able to get the material that they use to do for the field covering. you probably have to source it from China, and because of COVID, shipment stopped coming to Jamaica. So you can't get that, that material that you want for the field. And that has stagnated the project. The status report can help to highlight these major things, but even smaller things that might derail the process or the progress of the project. The status report can help you to pick up on these things. How far are we off from the target, for example? We said that we wanted to train 30 farmers. So far, we've only trained 15. The status report helps us to see where we are in the trajectory to training that 30 farmers. What is happening? Why these 34? Why the projection is so low? What has happened since we've engaged, we've mobilized the farmers to know when we've started to implement the project? The status report can help you to kind of go through all of those things to help you to keep on track, or if you are off track, to help you get back on track. And that is really what the funders want to see from the status report that you have sent to them. So in everything that you've sent to them, you have to kind of explain what is happening. And I will just go back to a project that another colleague of mine is doing, and which had halted due to violence in the community. So she couldn't just write that 6 persons stopped coming to the training. They'd want to know why 6 persons have stopped coming to the training. Then is where she can explain that because of the violence in the community and fear that a lot of the participants have dropped out of the program, or whatever other reasons why they are not coming to the training. So the status report, as I said before, really helps not only the organization, but the donors in seeing how the project is progressing, and if there is any assistance that is needed to get the project on track if the project has fallen off track. And we're coming to the end, so just bear with me for just a little bit more. All right, so this is just in continuation of the status report. So determine existing and potential project constraints that are holding the project back, and that will continue to hold the project back. So that is what you're looking for. You're trying to find in the status report. Those things that can hinder the project or that is stopping the project from pushing forward. You find those things and try to see how best you can alleviate or stop those things from jeopardizing the project. And normally in these status reports, you'll have the project milestone. So the project milestone is where exactly at this time should we be? What should we be doing at this time? Are we doing this? So if we're supposed to be planting the trees at this time of during the project, are we planting the trees now? Have we procured the trees? We bought the trees already? We contacted RAD already for the trees? What is where in the milestone are we in terms of getting the trees to plant the trees? Are we behind? Are we ahead of what it is that we said that we wanted to be doing at this point in the project? How does that map to the activities? So as I said before, you're telling a story. So all these things now will help you to better understand the story and know when the story is going off the path. know when to reel in back the story and say, no man, you're going too far, and so on. And then the final report now, the final report is where you actually summarize everything that happened from beginning to end. So even though you have been submitting your status report, remember when you were submitting your proposal, you had said that you wanted this particular outcome from the activities that you said that you were going to carry out. So you want these particular outcomes. The final report now will tell you if you have reached this outcome. If you have not reached this outcome, why it is that you have not reached this outcome. It goes further to looking at the budget to see whether or not the budget that you have, the money is that the funding that you have, or if you have spent it accordingly. If there were any challenges in implementing the project, what were some of these challenges while you were implementing the project? Here is where you put in your newspaper articles that you that featured the project, your photographs, your flyers, the registers that you have done for the project, where you look at your successes. So based on the objectives and the outcomes, these are the successes that we've had. And these are the challenges that we had why we did not achieve this particular outcome. And it also forms part of the lessons learned. So while you're going through the process itself of writing the project proposals, you take these things into consideration, because in implementing the project itself, it makes it so much easier once you understand what it is that you are, the indicators that you should be looking for, and indicators, or let me say, the things that you are looking for that shows that there are changes which are happening, or which is happening because you are implementing this project. So those are the things that you include in your final report. Project evaluation. So for some projects, you can do a pre-evaluation, and then you do a post-evaluation to see what happened during the process, what changed during the process, and if your project is responsible for the change. Let us use, for example, Romeo's health and wellness playing field idea. So let's see, he wanted to get more persons involved in exercise and to utilize the field for recreational purposes, to get out of the house and get moving. Was it the field, providing that field, was it that which really helped to build health and wellness in the community? Or was it the Jamaica Moves program on TV that these persons are now engaged in that caused the change? So the project evaluation really helps you to understand what, how, and why the changes happened, whether it is your project that caused the change, or it is another project, and then how it is that you can, how is it that you are able to now document, you're documenting now how your project has helped in the change. Any questions?
Mr. Simmons, do you have a question? Mr. Simmons? Okay, I don't think he does.
Hello?
Yes, I was asking.
No,
if you
no,
have
no.
a question. Okay.
Oh, not now. No, I'm all right.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, my
Okay,
mic.
so-
Okay, my mic.
That's fine, Mr. Simmons.
Hello?
I'm hearing you.
I was just wondering if the donors offer a space for the form of negotiation, so the project being hampered by, say, force majeure or any form of government policy. Do they have a medium for you to negotiate with them?
I mean, I know that once, yes, there is. Let me say that, because within the status report, if you have indicated from there that there was a challenge and they know of the challenge, then they will call a meeting and find a way of how to work out that challenge. So there is. And this is from small, from local organizations such as the EFJs and the SGPs, and also would go more to international organizations, USAIDs, those type of organizations. They do. Just ensure that whenever you're faced with a challenge, you send, even before the status report, you can just send them an email to let them know of the challenge and that you are possibly seeking some assistance in rectifying whatever challenges that you are having. Communication is always key when dealing with your donors as well.
Okay. Thank you.
They don't like surprise.
Not at all. So you can't wait until the end of the project to say, oh, you know that we were to lease the land, and they said that they were going to give us the land for lease, and then this had happened, and then this happened. You can't tell them that at the end of the project. You have to ensure that you communicate with them during, so that they know what is happening and they can advise accordingly.
Right. I'll give you a live example. Last year, we were working on a project with Jeff SGP since 2018, and we were supposed to put in some solar systems in about 3 schools and do greenhouse, but we're supposed to do some training and what we would call a knowledge fair or information fair. And that was supposed to be done close to the end of the project. But guess what happened? COVID struck and government protocols changed. And so we could not, and gathering limits were amended. Schools were not allowed face-to-face. So what we did was to communicate very early with the funder and say, hey, we will need permission to change that particular line item. So we will not be doing the fairs anymore. We'll be focusing mostly on training, and we'll have to reduce the number of persons that we will be training because of the government protocols. And they said, okay, go ahead. We also had to ask for what is called a no-cost extension. So what that means is that we're not asking for more money, and funders don't like that. Don't ask for no more money. They do not like that. So we're not asking for more money. All we're doing is asking for a little bit more time to complete all the results, all the outputs, all the activities. That's all we're asking for, a little bit more time to complete the outputs. But then, because we had been talking all along, the coordinator knew that we would need that time, and so that was approved. And normally you have to put that in writing, and an amendment has to be done to your MOU or your agreement, and you have to, parties have to sign. So it's really, when it comes to project monies and donors, it's a legal matter, you know, so you can't fool around with people with the donors' money. So you have to be very careful on top of what you're doing, on top of the spending. You must be very careful about that. All right? And you can't just decide, say, oh, I'm not going to do the play field out at Palmer's Cross. I think I'm going to do it out at Canaanites. You can't do that. If you do that, you would have to ask permission to change the location of the project. Certain things you can't do that. You can't just decide, say, oh, I had budgeted 20,000 US for equipment and material. I'm going to spend some more money because things gone up. You cannot decide these things, you know, arbitrarily. You have to go in and you have to talk to and you have, most times you have to put your request in writing. You have to justify why you're doing it. And sometimes as an organization, that's why you have partners, you have to absorb any increased cost. Because you can't go back to the donor and ask them for more money. 50,000 is the 50,000 US is the limit. 50,000 US is the limit. You can't go back and say, I want some more money. That's why proper planning, project planning is important, and ensuring that you get the help from technocrats. Yes.
Excellent. As I said, I know that it is a long session and I know that it is a lot. But the truth is that these things do take time, and I do hope that at least some of it, if not all of it, that you now understand, and you can start to look at some of these aspects that you understand and start to put things in place and start to scribble down your little notes so that when your time comes for you to write your project proposal, or even looking for different projects or different grants out there, not only in Jamaica, but internationally as well. Looking for different grants that you can get to to build out these activities and these goals that you want for your organization and your community. Make a little note during these sessions and try to practice, how to write these different components in your proposal. Sometimes they have this saying, by the yard it is hard, but if you inch it, you will clinch it. It is one of my mantras, one of my favorite mantras. And whenever I'm writing a proposal, I always have to go back to it, because writing a proposal, as I said, is a very tedious process, and you have to pull on so many different people in order for you to get it done. And you just have to remind yourself that by the yard it is hard, but if you inch it, you will clinch it. You don't take it on one time. You take it on little.
One step at a time.
Yeah, man. Do little today, do little tomorrow, do little next week. By the end of it, you see how far you have come and how much you have done when writing your proposals. So that is it from me. I just want to thank you all so much for joining in and for participating as well. I definitely learned a lot from our conversation and from our discussion. And I really do hope that you also learned a lot and you can pass on some information to other persons who were not able to join in the session as well.
So I want everybody to give Catania a hand, so it can be an emoji, and or you can open your mics and actually tell her, well done, thank you very much. And we'll finish on time.
Well done, well done.
Very good presentation.
Yeah.
Well done, thank you very much, Ms. Griffiths.
You are so welcome.
Congratulations, Ms. Griffiths.
Thank
well
you.
Informative. Well informed.
Good job, Miss Griffiths. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was asking for your contact, if possible, please.
Sure. I'll give you my organization and the number. So I am with You can put it in the chat as well so that other persons can see,
contact.
right?
But we're not finished yet, you know, because what I wanted to do, Ketana is not available tomorrow. But I wanted to actually, for us to do a project together, write one together.
Okay.
And so that we can actually get a little practice. Because a part of this is that each development area committee will be getting a small grant to do a COVID relief kind of a project. So we wanted to, any DAC that is ready can raise the hand, and if we need to do an evening session, like start about now or later, and we'll work out and try and write one together, and then the rest of the group can at least use that as a guide. So we're not quite finished yet, but thank you very much, Kesania. It was really
Miss
good.
Griffiths.
And yeah, Miss Matthew,
Can
you
I
have a
say
question?
something?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you very much, Miss Griffiths, for the knowledge you have shared with us and enlightening us on proposal writing. Hopefully, this grand proposal training will make some of us consider acquiring a degree based on your precise training, and most of all, we may go out and execute what we have been taught in our community for the development of each community and to impact Jamaica at large.
Well said, well said.
That is the perfect goal. You could write that. You could write that in your proposal. I tell you, that is a very good goal. That is a very good goal.
We can consider getting the degree now.
Yes.
And as well, you can definitely see how these different trainings that you are a part of, how they really add up to helping not only you but the different communities, because now we have 21 persons who are online. Let me just exclude Hezekiah and Miss Douglas and those from SDC and said 17 persons who are online who at least catch a little piece of what was said and can carry it to the community and share what it is that they have learned, you know? So it's these sessions that we really shouldn't take for granted, because there is so much value in it, not only for you as the participant, but for the people who we are writing these proposals for.
That's right. All right. Thank you so much, my dear. We are going to be calling on you again. You are now a part of the PDC family, so we'll be calling you again. Right, Ezzy?
No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Sorry, Miss D.
Yes. So, who is ready? Which development area is ready for us to write a COVID relief project? Who is ready? I will set up the meeting tomorrow evening and let us start working on it. Who is ready? Which I'm offering the development. Who is ready to write the project?
I'm not understanding you, Miss Douglas.
Which development area committee is ready to write their COVID relief project?
Okay.
Proposal. Napen, are you ready? Paulding, are you ready to write your proposal? Chapleton, Moko, who is ready? I'm not hearing anybody. That means you didn't learn anything today. Poor Miss Griffiths waste our time.
I am ready. I'm ready to try this tedious process. I am ready.
So you're ready. What about, I see Barbara, you're ready? Is that what you're saying? From Lionel Town?
No, we're actually not, it's not about reading, but we haven't decided on what
decided.
No.
When will you decide? You have to decide very quickly. If you quint, you lose the money. So you have to decide very quickly. Remember, we
Okay.
spoke about this from last week. So you need to decide what it is that you want to
Allow
do.
me to do some consultation with my members.
All right.
Allow me.
Let me give you some ideas. So, for example,
allow me the pleasure.
Okay, Mr.
Allow me the pleasure of consulting with my members.
Okay, so let me give you some project ideas. Suppose you have 2 primary schools in your area and you visit the primary schools and you realize that they do not have hand wash stations or they don't have running water, so they need a tank and some hand wash stations. Then you can do that project, or you might go to the health center and you realize that they run out of paper towel and sanitizers and so on. So you may want to do that. You may want to help the police station in your development area. You may want to help some vulnerable persons in your area, meaning some shut-in or a series of vulnerable families. But you have to come up with your project idea. You have to come up with a rationalization, the problem statement. You have to develop the goal and the objectives. Whichever DA is ready, we will run with that DA and help you to write the project online, and the others can follow suit. But we don't have very long we don't have a very long window. So we want persons to do this very quickly. Ms. Hilton, I'm sure, is willing and ready to work with you. I don't know if Mrs. Richards is still online, but I know that the SDC persons are willing to work with you to decide on what your COVID relief project will be. You will not get any monies. You will not get any money in your hand. You will have to submit the invoices to the PDC or wherever, and we will work. Yes, Romeo, you were saying something?
Like how I am first, I can get an extra, right?
Like how you're what?
Like how I am going to be the first DAC, can I get extra?
You remember what we just said about if there's a limit?
Oh, no, I'm not listening to the extra part.
Oh, no. You remember we said if there's a limit. So if SGP only offers $50,000, you cannot ask for more. Because remember that Ms. Griffiths told you that the first thing that some of the funders turn on and look at is the budget. So if you're gone over the budget, you're not considered.
How much money are we talking about, Ms. Douglas?
100,000.
Okay.
Miss Austin, you have your hand up. So Romeo, you're ready?
Yes, because I'm talking to my PR right now.
Okay.
And we agreed that we could target basic schools.
Okay.
One of the things,
I thought as much, because I remember you mentioned it at one meeting.
Yes.
All right. So Romeo, could we meet tomorrow evening via Zoom and start writing?
What time?
Any other DAC? What time is good? From about, anytime after about 3 o'clock going into the evening is good.
I know I have a CDC executive meeting at 5:30.
Okay. So what time does that end? We don't want to
start at 5:30.
It starts at 5:30. So
yes,
do you want us to meet between like about 2:30, about maybe 2 o'clock, between 2 and 5:30?
We could.
Okay. 2 and 5:30. So I'll extend the invitation to others who want to watch us write the project. So what I need from you, Romeo, how many basic schools you're going to target?
Okay.
And how many basic schools you're going to target and so on. We'll try. We should have some costs here for hand wash stations and so on.
Okay.
So I can help you with the costings.
All right, thank you.
All right, so tomorrow between 2 and 5:30, we'll meet. I'll set up the meeting and ask Miss Trina to send out to the group. And if you have the time, you can join us and watch us put that proposal together so that the other DACs. And remember, this is one project per DAC, so it's 8 projects. It's not for everybody. It's for the development area, persons in the development area to work together. So it's not for each CBO or each CDC. It's for the development area committee to work together on this issue. All right. Miss Austin, you had your hand up. Miss Austin?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
I had it in mind to volunteer MOCO, but I think I have a meeting at that time. So we want to look at I want to look at MOCO Road Basic School. And we started some work, but I think I have a church committee
meeting at that time
about that. Yes.
All right. So Stephanie and I can talk and see how we can help you with yours. So it's just one school you're looking at? Just one school?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one base, right? Because they need some help. All right. Take care then. Thanks.
All right.
And we think this afternoon is the MOCO DAC, so we can test it out some more in that meeting.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is you saw us showing you what the SGP proposal looks like. So we're going to use that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we use that that form as a guide. All right, so I'm going to ask Trina to share the SGP guide with everybody. All righty. So thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I just want to say it was a great presentation, and I believe we all learned something. And I mean, the monetary part, that's the part that is frightening, because at some point it makes you feel like you don't even bother want to write a grant proposal. But then when you realize that you want a greater good for your community, then you say, boy, let us just do it and done. All right, and I really look forward to this first grant for the Mapen DAC. I do believe that this will kick us off and want to do some more.
That was the idea. I want to energize the development area committees.
Because as I said to you last week, what can we do to make things work? And this can help to make things work.
Excellent. Thank you, Romeo.
So, Mr. Douglas, I say I can watch the showdown.
Yes. Yeah. Trina put in the little it's a YouTube video. It was in the link.
Okay.
The YouTube video is here. So you can watch the cartoon. And but we'll meet again. Whoever is available tomorrow afternoon, you can join us and watch Romeo and his team along with us and the SDC team put that proposal together. And I don't know if Ezekiah has the time. I know Miss Griffith said that she wouldn't be available, but maybe she'll be available another time. But yeah, that's it for this afternoon. Thank you to everybody. You participated and you sat through the session. I'm very grateful to you, and I feel very excited that the development area committees and our CDCs are ready to go. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Miss.
Thank you. Have a good evening,
Right.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
God bless.
And look out for the information that we'll be sending out.
Okay.
All right, everybody, take care.
Bye. Yeah. 2:36.
Them say evening till after Jamaica. Say evening like after 6 o'clock.
Hello?